Hey, what's up?
I'm finally not dying from SmashCon sickness, whatever the hell that was.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I was like so grateful I didn't get sick, and I'm feeling pretty good after Shine too. So
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. Thank goodness.
yeah, no, I'm good, which is great because after Gommel, I was done for a bit. It's always
Really?
Gommel, but I think that's usually just because I go on the boat and like I'm just stupid on the boat. But anyway,
Oh,
um, yeah. So just so you know, I know I asked for this one to be streamed, if not, but I just got back from the store just like 10 minutes ago, so I'm not really like ready for it. So we'll just keep this one recorded for today.
that's fine.
Next time we can definitely do a stream. Just remind me.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't really like either way is fine for me
okay.
because as long as I can.
Oh, sorry, you cut out there.
Oh, sorry. Hang on. My microphone's a little messed up. Yeah, as long as I can look back on it later, like I said,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Okay, great.
Either way.
So yeah, tell me about how you've been feeling with the game plan I gave you last time. Pretty sure last time we talked about Sheik, kind of like the importance of game plans, a little bit about neutral. So yeah, let me know how that's been.
Um, so for me, like the past, like in between last session and this one, I've thought about it a lot, and I've sort of been looking more towards, well, basically doing exactly what we talked about, trying to understand like these are some of the things that the character's looking for, right? Like you talked about a character's like inherent, weakness, like and
Hmm.
how that translates to the matchup, right? Like
Yep.
Sheik's drift and how that interacts with how Marth works as a character.
Hmm.
Um, and I was thinking about that, and I've sort of been looking to like further simplify things like that, just so I can sort of give myself the most basic like foundation
Hmm. No, that's great. That's
for any matchup, and so I can be like, okay, well, even in another like an entirely different matchup, I mean, you can say there might be some similarities, but like Falcon, right? Like he's just a lot faster of a character, but like what are the things that he's looking for, kind of thing?
yep.
What are the things I kind of have to be aware of? Um, and how can I, as a Marth player, deal with that?
Hmm.
And just kind of focusing on those a little bit more. Just because like if I only have to pay attention to two or three things that I'm working on, or like the very basic things, it becomes more apparent like what's happening. Even if they hit me with something that I wasn't expecting or whatever, like it's still like accomplishing something. And I think, especially like at this level, it's more or less the same thing as being accomplished.
Yep.
So,
Okay. No, that's great. So how did you want to take today? Did you want to talk about the Falcon matchup? Did you want to build upon what we talked about in Sheik? Watch some VODs? How were you thinking?
honestly, like that's the thing. Like I've been kind of been off on my own, and I've been simplifying things where that it's to a point where I'm not sure where I want to go, like
Okay.
where how I want to build on top of those things.
Okay, sure.
Um,
So
you know.
what I would recommend then is probably let's talk about a different matchup today.
Sure.
But we can still build upon some of the stuff we talked about last time. So I'll give you a random matchup,
Hmm.
and you can tell me if like halfway through if you wanted to like talk about something else. If you
Okay.
decide maybe this isn't it, but what I would recommend probably just to build upon what we talked about in with the idea of keeping game plans simple, we could probably talk about the Luigi matchup because it's
Okay.
it's pretty similar to Marth Sheik in terms of abusing the character's weaknesses, but different enough where like how you play neutral against him and like edge guarding and all that is pretty different, right? So we'll talk about.
Right.
I swear to God, I have a write up of this matchup. I'm gonna look really quick in just one of my other students' DMs because I'm like almost sure I've sent this to someone before. Um, yeah. Okay. This should have a write up. No. Okay. Let me search through my YouTube really quick. I know for sure I've talked about the Luigi matchup with students before, and I just want to see if there's somewhere I might I might have a VOD saved where I have it written up already. So just 1 second.
Yeah, take your time.
Okay, so coaching, and then
Yeah, because a lot of stuff we talked about last time was more so like the idea of taking what's important in a matchup and like the things you like need to be looking out for.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Marth Fox, Sheik, Fox Marth, Sheik, Marth Ditto, Marth Fox, Marth Peach, Marth Fox, Falco, Falcon, Fox, Falco, Marth. I know Luigi's in here somewhere. But I guess not in the title, which will make it harder for me to find for now. So I'll put in the title for yours, so it's for sure there. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, like I said, Marth versus Luigi, it's pretty straightforward. Similar to, let me just pull Discord off screen here, so I'm not going through our DMs super. Okay, so similar to the Sheik matchup plan, I'll share my screen so you can see what I'm talking about. Similar to that, it's Luigi also has very similar weaknesses, right? Like I said, Sheik is really bad with her horizontal drift in the air. Luigi is even worse. And on top of it, his downward facing hitboxes, while I think down air might reach a little further, it's objectively a little worse because he has to time it, right? Whereas Sheik, it's kind of out for a little bit with her down air. So it's even easier to juggle Luigi, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
On top of it, Luigi's even more simple to edgeguard. The only thing you really have to look out for is misfire, and even then, you can still just do a true safe edgeguard against him, like almost all the time, where you're never really in risk of getting misfired unless you do go for something like a little bit more greedy, right? So Luigi's very similar in terms of his weaknesses. So the pros for you are almost the exact same. The exception being Luigi has a little bit more range than Sheik on the ground, right? So a lot worse in the air, and arguably like a lot better on the ground in some spots. Luigi can just go really far because of his wave dash, so it's never really a concern of his if you're like super playing the mid range, because like at any point he can wave dash in, wave dash out, right? So being grounded against Luigi is, while it's really strong and like down tilt is still like a really great move, like it is against Sheik to control the ground where you can poke at him, he's able to go a lot quicker. It's like, it's kind of like he has dash attack on crack, kind of. So
yeah, he's very burst heavy with his ground movement.
yeah, exactly. So the way I like to play it, I will force some down tilts in here and there when I find that the spacing is right for it. But generally speaking, I do like to stay a little bit more aerial heavy with like nairs and fair, and kind of walling him out and kind of keeping him in a bad spot. So that's basically the weakness and pros. We can write this up even right now if you'd like, or I could write it up just for you after. I'm just trying to give you like a basic idea of how the matchup's played.
Right.
So yeah, basically when you're playing the Luigi matchup, it's even better for punish. Like I would argue that Luigi, you get to punish a lot harder than Sheik, which is great because that means like instead of having to do it like a tech chase at 0 to like 26, where you're stuck with like hoping you have good enough reactions or you can condition them hard enough to tech a certain way, with Luigi you can just up throw like at 0% and it just works, right? On the flip side, for Luigi's strengths, I would argue that in some spots, like edge guarding, Luigi might actually hit a little harder than Sheik. If he's able to edge guard you properly, sometimes you only get like 1 or 2 hits to live against Luigi if you're at like higher percent, just because down air and forward air are like really strong from him. Forward airs, I don't know if it's stronger than Sheik's forward air, but it certainly like sends farther at lower percents. I can tell you that. But down air especially, down air can be really tricky to play around, especially with how much up B landing lag Marth has. So usually against Luigi, I try not to go off stage as much with him. I'm usually pretty comfortable just hovering at least a little bit on stage. I'm usually willing to always just make sure I have my double jump on me, right? So if I do miss an edge guard, for example, I'm not having to do double jump back and up B like on stage, right? I can just double jump back on stage and not have to be stuck in up B landing leg. So that's kind of how that would work. On top of it, like I said, and like you mentioned as well, Luigi has a really high burst range. So while some people think that Dreamland is not the best stage against him because he's able to live for so long with his recovery and, just general
I
like
prefer the
difficulty.
space you get, yeah.
Well, yeah, I would argue that it's one of Marth's better stages in the matchup, and actually a stage like Yoshi's would be more annoying, where his wave dash goes like 3/4 of the stage, and he's like practically invincible the whole time with a ledge dash, right?
Mm-hmm.
Better Luigi's will really abuse Yoshi's and the ledge on it. So I think that's something that's changed with time, where now it actually the bigger stages are better for Marth, even though he might struggle at dealing with Luigi at further away distances, just calling him coming in kind of thing.
Right.
If you are able to get a call out when Luigi comes in, though, it's a lot easier. So that's why I still think the further the range that's not invincible still isn't bad, because when you're walling him out, generally just because of the amount of space between the two, you should be fine anyway. So yeah, that's basically the matchup in a nutshell. I like to think of it as a simplified version of the Sheik matchup. I also call this matchup one of the essentials to learn with Marth, whereas a lot of people think like, oh, he's just a gimmicky mid-tier. I think this is one of the best matchups to learn because it's just on paper, it's one of the most straightforward, and you can kind of just play the matchup instead of playing the player a lot of the time. And it's also good for a fundamental thing as well, just because like there's a lot of Marths that will sit down and learn like Marth versus Fox or Falco or something. And they just get really good at the chain grab, and they want to be like Mewtwo King on FD kind of thing. That's the meme.
Yeah.
But then they play any floaty and they just juggle terribly and they get blown up, right? So Luigi is really great because it's so simple to juggle him that if you get good at it and you could just kill him every time you throw him in the air, it inherently is just going to translate to the other characters. You'll kind of learn the rules of juggling.
Yeah, I mean that's the interesting thing about Luigi is if you don't juggle him correctly, uh, some Luigis are like super like spam heavy with this, but like he can throw out his nair pretty quick if you mess up the juggle, right? And like pretty egregiously. So like you'll know immediately like if you're doing something wrong sometimes against Luigi's because for some reason Luigi's just like to spam nair in Marth juggle at least on lower end, which is
Yeah.
weird. So
Well, the
but you know when
reason,
you mess up that way.
yeah, for sure. I would argue the moves that tell you the most if you're messing up is probably down air or down B more so than nair. Nair is just an inherent Luigi player habit, just because it's like something like frame 3 or something. It's just really quick. So it's kind of known as like the get out of combo move. So that's why they're spamming Nair, is just because it's a really fast aerial. And usually when people try and hit floaties, like they're gonna jump right at them. So that it's good for that. So that's just an inherent Luigi player habit. But you're still right. Like if you're getting hit in your juggle, like you'll know for sure if you're messing it up. I would argue that down air and down B are the two moves that make it hardest to juggle, but still pretty easy. Like nair isn't really a concern for Marth because up tilt and up air are just so much bigger than it. Then if you're getting hit by nair, you're really just mispositioning. That's like the big thing. With down air and down B, it could be either both mispositioning or it could be timing. Down B, he stalls a little bit in the air when he does it, so he can often like mix up his timing. So for that one, I do think it can be timing in most spots. Like if you're close up to the ground, usually it's just mispositioning. Like when you're doing it, you should be safe from down B when you get hit by it, or if you're getting hit by it. Down air is like a weird thing where he extends his hurt box downwards when he flicks his legs down. And it's also disjointed, which means the hitbox goes even further than what it looks like. So that's a tricky move to be hit by when juggling. But that's very easily like circumvented by just doing like, instead of doing what a lot of people do when they do juggling is they'll do rising aerials. So they'll do like rising up air to hit him when he's on your way up kind of thing. Right. But it's actually better just to like jump underneath him and fall with him, because he can't get away from you horizontally. He's going to have to fall with you vertically. And if you're staying underneath him, it means he has to throw a hitbox or at least try and trade with you to land. But if you're doing a falling aerial, you're basically maximizing the amount of disjoint between you and him. Whereas if you were doing rising, like it kind of effectively is less disjoint. Someone has worded it once, I forget who, but they'll word it as like hitbox shifting. Kind of. I don't think that's necessarily the best terms for it, because the hitboxes aren't necessarily moving like from their actual model, but it's just like because your character is going into where the hitbox initially was, you're effectively getting less disjoint, right? So that's kind of the key to juggling in this matchup. I would say is baiting out with falling up air or fast falling it and doing an up tilt instead. Um, both are perfectly fine options. Sometimes I just find up air a little easier than up tilt. Um, but yeah, I'll stop rambling for a bit so we can actually talk about it. Any questions about what we've talked about?
Um, no, I think choosing Luigi as a matchup, especially in regards to juggling and what you just mentioned, I mean that makes perfect sense, right? Because you're learning to exercise patience because it's a floaty matchup, and you're learning why you're exercising that patience, right? Like how are you staying, I guess, kind of on top of this character, putting them in an uncomfortable position, without just staying still, right? Because always moving, always changing where you are. Maybe even as something simple as like falling up air versus fast fall up tilt, right? Like
Yep.
it's again, it's accomplishing the same thing, but it's changing how it's being done, and it makes them worry about more, makes them think about more, which is always good, for neutral stuff. But no, I,
Well,
I think that's good, and practicing those types of things against floatier matchups because it's slower, so it's easier to like keep up,
mm,
at least mentally. I think that'll probably just build good habits, for when you want to do the faster matchups, which tend to be, a little swingier with like juggling and stuff like that. But that's its own thing.
um, yeah, in a sense, like I don't think
It's
the
just because it's
faster.
faster.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. Is I don't think necessarily because they're faster matchups means you have to be swingier. I think it just stage positioning will matter a little bit more. Um,
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I say swinger in that regard, it's more so, like, Fox, right? Like he's gonna fall faster.
yeah,
You will be swinging more often, like at lower intervals because you'll have more opportunities to hit him instead of waiting for the position and shifting that because it's floaty, it takes time in the air sort of thing. That's all I meant by that. It's nothing
yeah.
like, yeah.
My thought is like I think that's more of a fact, not necessarily because Fox is faster, just more of a fact. Like it's part of that, but I think more so because he has smaller range, right? Um, you'll find that when you get close to the slower matchups in the game, that you're going to be swinging just as much if you know the matchup properly.
Mm.
But against characters with higher range like Sheik or Puff, you're not going to be swinging as much, right? Sheik is obviously a lot faster than Jigglypuff. So maybe Jigglypuff isn't the best example, but like I don't know. Um, like even Samus, right? Like Samus is pretty quick, not super quick. For when you actually get a hit on her, she falls really slow. But when you're close to her, like she throws out a ton of moves, right? So that's kind of the idea. Is it's more about a range thing than less so like Fox is fast, therefore you should be swinging a ton. It's mostly you how you deal with your range and stage positioning.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, the main reason I'm bringing up Luigi, while what you said has some merit, the main reason I think this is the best matchup to talk about today is because we're talking about simplifying game plans a lot, and where Luigi is just a more simple version of Sheik and a little bit easier of execution, and on top of it, will teach you some good habits for the rest of the matchups in the game. I think this is probably the best one. It's like you said with the thing with like up air and up tilt. Well, I don't think it's necessarily about making him think about more options. I think it's just about covering more options with just like the same thing, really, right? Like
Right.
up air and up tilt are doing the exact same thing. They're hitting him upwards, they're juggling, but on Luigi's end, like if you're good at juggling, he's gonna try and get down the same way no matter what. He might try a different move, but effectively he's trying to get down on top of you, and you're trying to hit
Right.
him back up, right? So, well, I think the best thing we can do with the game plan in mind, I'll send you. Oh, sorry, I just hurt my wrist really bad. Um, I'll send you a write up at the end of the session so you can reflect back on it. But I think probably what would be best for now, if you have any on your computer, would just be to try and find some Luigi Slippy files of you playing against him, and we could watch through them and kind of talk about how you can implement that game plan a little bit better.
Oh goodness. Let me see if I can. That will hold on. Let me. When's the last time I played a Luigi? It's been a while, I bet. Let me see if I can find any.
Yeah, the easiest way is probably I don't know if you have Clippy. I don't. I've heard that's a thing, but I just go on Slippy Launcher, and I literally just search Luigi. So that should work for you too.
Let's see here. Search for the character specific stuff. I see.
I'm like 90% sure. I can try it on mine as well. My computer's pretty quick.
If I just type in Luigi, I'm getting everything but Luigi. I don't.
Yeah. There's also an app called Clippy, but I think that might take too much time to set up. It might just be better to search. Or we could even like try and go in the Atlantic Discord right now or Melee Online and try and find a Luigi instead too. We could do
Literally, yeah, that might be more right. Then I've definitely played against Luigi, right? But
yeah, I'm sure you have. He's pretty common, but yeah. And it doesn't have to be a great game either. Just like any match really, because we're just talking about game plans right now, right? So
yeah. I don't. I'm gonna keep it 100. I don't think I'm gonna find any of my replay like with ease.
okay.
I even found a Donkey Kong like a few times and Yoshi a few times before that. So I
So when you search, like I don't know if you can see my screen right now, but like I have on Slippy Launcher, I literally just searched the word Luigi. That doesn't show up for you any games against him?
no, not the character. You can search by like player tag,
Yeah. Okay,
but
that's weird because I have this guy. His name is Amp.
yeah, I saw that. I wonder if at one point in time.
Oh, because his name is Luigi Main 10,000 or something.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I played him for a while. Huh. Okay. Normally, I like give Luigi players like 2 games and then that's it.
Like a best of three sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. If the matchup is like as simple as you're saying it is, then
Yeah.
like I'm a really good Luigi, you probably have enough experience and knowledge in it to where you're not like playing to learn a whole lot from it.
Yeah, I was gonna say Luigi's probably one of my best matchups. I've beaten every Luigi I've ever played. The only one I haven't played is Eddie Mexico. But he's like the Luigi, you know. So I really want to play him. But yeah. Why don't we try and Melee Online? I could try and find you a game. We'll try advanced. Are you in the server Melee Online?
No.
Oh, you should join it.
I've heard some horror stories about that place, but I'm down.
Well, yeah, you should. I mean, it's probably not the greatest server, but it's really good for matchmaking. So you'll notice here on the left they have different like levels of matchmaking. So they have like just started, novice, advanced, expert, and master. So it's really good at being able to find players at your level. So yeah, we'll just throw out an advanced.
Hold on, I have to get here in the server for a moment, because it has all like the server set up like, oh, please read the rules and FAQ and stuff like that. But
I think all you have to do is set like your character and that's it.
I did that and it didn't go through, so I just canceled everything and redid it.
Word.
Anyway, we're here now. We're in.
Yeah, so I'll try and get you a game in Melee Online. I just tagged the Luigi role. So hopefully some Luigi player will look at it and be like, "Oh my god, a Master Marth, like let's do it." But I doubt it. So why don't you try even just the Atlantic Discord, or like maybe you could hit up Mac or something from St. John. I don't know if he's online right now, but we could try and get some games.
I'm playing on the St. John board. Mac 891, yeah.
Yeah. So why don't you message him and see if he's down to just like give you a couple games real quick. Sorry, I know this is like really just like right now. Like we should have planned this ahead of time, but it's just where we didn't know what we were going to be talking about today. But I do think this is probably the best use of your time right now is just talking about Luigi and getting some of the fundamentals down. Worst case, if we don't find anything in the next like 5 minutes, let's just watch some of my games against him.
Right. All right. Well, let's see if Let's see if he responds. But yeah, no, I think finding like specific matchups and just playing them, right? Like it's a little uh it's a little easier to find
Yeah,
dares
that's
at
why I think Melee Online
Luigi.
is good, right? Because
Right,
you can
yeah.
just tag characters that you want. So usually if I'm working on a matchup, I'll like just tag that character for like a week, and just
Mm,
try and play like Captain Falcon as much as I can, kind of thing.
yeah, that's
Um,
fair.
so yeah. Oh, this guy looks like he's got that's a Luigi player as tag. What's your Slippy code?
It's just hold on, we'll DM you. There you go. So my internet doesn't die because it died earlier twice today, so that's concerning. But
Yeah. Okay. Just gotta wait for this guy to get a code. I was gonna say that's definitely a Luigi ass player name. It's like Weege but with an S.
was
Yeah.
yeah.
Want how to go? Yeah. First to search. Okay.
Alright,
Yeah,
let's
either
see.
one of them, right? Give me like an hour.
I
Okay.
brother.
You're out, lol. uh Okay, search CC number 920.
CC 920. All
Yep.
right.
And then share your screen when you get the chance to.
Oh, hopefully that goes well.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll go
My
fine.
Discord does not. My Discord does not like screen sharing, but hopefully it'll be okay.
I usually find that screen share is better than application share if you want to try that.
Oh, like my whole screen sort of thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Usually just because it doesn't, like, the application share is sharing sound also.
Right.
And I think it
Yeah,
might
that's fair.
capture differently, but I'm not like 1,000% sure.
All right. Let me also just like kill the quality just to make sure like it's.
Yeah, sure.
There we go. Wow, it's my screen. Isn't that cool? This um CC 920 you said?
Yeah.
Oh. Time to figure out how to play against Luigi.
We just talked about it. I'm kidding.
Hey man,
Uh,
experience is different. Look at this guy over here.
so, yeah, basically in neutral, you don't want to be
Hmm.
super, super close to him. I would say the two moves you're most scared of are probably wave dash. Like they're all gonna be coming from a wave dash. So that'll give you like some insight as to like how far to
Wave
be
dash
away.
down smash
Yeah.
funny.
Wave dash down smash, wave dash grab, probably wave dash what's it called? Wave dash F tilt is probably a really big one. Um so I don't really shield too much like if I think they're gonna down smash, but if I have a idea that they're gonna start F tilting, that's when I'll start shielding and start going for like grab or up B at a shield. Up B at a shield is
Right.
like randomly really good against Luigi because he's still in he still has momentum from his wave dash. So when you knock him vertically, he gets invisible ceilinged. So it's like
That's
really
really
easy
funny.
to invisible ceiling Luigi actually.
That's really funny. I didn't know exactly how that worked.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, up B at a shield is like randomly good against Luigi, but you got to look out for it sometimes because if you fall on the ground, you could get like up B back. But on stages with top platforms like Battlefield or Dreamland, it's honestly pretty good because you'll just land on the top platform. Um,
And I'm guessing you're sort of trying to reserve this for like more of a kill option kind of thing. But if
yeah,
oh well, yeah.
yeah. If I was going for damage, I'd probably fish for grab,
Yeah.
more than anything, just because grab I can get an up throw, and then from an up throw, we talked about this in the Sheik thing, you can potentially just get a kill, right? So even
What's that
more
like in
so against
Zero?
Luigi. It's up throw. What do you mean?
it's just cool to up throw him at 0 and
Yeah.
combo into the other move? Oh, okay.
Yep. So at zero with Luigi, you're never really gonna get a direct combo as much. Like you'll get up throw up air at later percents, but it's at 0 in particular, he goes like just outside of up tilt range. But that's good for you because that means if he starts falling for a little bit, you don't have to mix up your timing. You just up tilt if you see him fall for a little bit. And if he double jumps, great. Now he's above you, like with no ability to drift away or jump away with no double jump, right? So you can just keep pushing him like with a bunch of fairs or up airs to get a bunch of damage and push him off the stage, and he should die. So that's really great. I would say another like quick little point is that if you know he's gonna up B, if you know he's gonna up B, a lot of people will try and do like ledge grab to beat Luigi up B, but I don't think Marth really has to do that. It's really, really difficult for Luigi to sweet spot on the up B, and even still, I think if he gets to that point, it's kind of like, okay, he got the outplay, whatever. But if you're comfortable just doing like down tilt at the ledge against him instead of going for like a ledge hog, you're just gonna keep yourself like 10 times safer, all while like putting the risk on to kill him, right? Like it's a huge execution test on his part, and even then, I don't think he can get around. He can sweet spot on up B and F smash both, right? So I would recommend if you know he's below you and he's gonna start up being, you don't have to do that. You can just do down tilt. It's like way safer. But yeah. Okay, so he's finally searching. Thank God. That took way too long. So sorry about that. I'll give you a couple minutes extra at the end just because of the time it took. Also, I might be crazy, but I think your mic's muted if you're not saying anything. Oh, I heard you robot mode for like a split second.
There we go. Is
Oh,
that
okay.
better?
Yeah, that's way better.
Okay. My microphone cable kind of got ran over by a desk chair.
Oh
It
yeah,
got stuck.
that's
I need to
funny.
buy a new one, so sometimes it cuts out. Um, it's entirely possible that I just don't speak for periods of time, and if that's happened, it's probably my microphone. I'll try to remind you next session. Hey, it's C. Okay, we're here. What is the ping like with this gamer? Oh, boy. Oh, man.
Oh, is
I
it
don't-
bad? Oh yeah, 400. Yeah, no way. No shot. Okay.
Good luck.
GG's. Yeah.
Oh,
Goodbye.
Holy moly, brother.
Yeah, 400 pings, a little no go.
That is. Now, I'm not gonna say it's him. Very reasonably, my internet did die today, so there could be something up on my end, reasonably. But
Yeah.
Mac is alive.
Oh, okay, sweet. Yeah, play with him.
Damn it! He's watching One Piece.
Oh, well, tell him like please right now because you're doing Metafy with me. He'll probably just stop. Yeah, tell him like you should let him know that we're doing Metafy right now and it's just being recorded. Like we only want like 1 or 2 games.
Hopefully that works out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that ping was yucky. Worst case scenario.
Who else plays Luigi in Atlantic Canada?
Well, I have no idea.
No, I'm just trying
I
to
don't know who
think.
plays Fox.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair.
I'm just not there.
I'm just gonna go through a list of people who are online.
Oh, he can play a game.
Oh, he's down? Okay, cool. Oh wait, why did I not consider this? Why didn't I just play Luigi? I'm so stupid.
I, I mean, like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's actually my fault. I just genuinely just did not consider that. Okay.
like, I thought about it, and I'm like,
No, next time say it because like I literally just went through like two sessions a while ago where I played Fox and Falco for people. And I'm
okay, my
like,
bad.
no, yeah, that's actually I'm just actually just dumb for that. Sorry.
Don't
Okay.
worry about it. It's all good.
Yeah. So yeah, you can play Mac. Thank God. uh, cool.
Now, if the connection dies when I'm connecting to this gamer because I know it should be good,
Mm.
then what I'll do is I'll stop my screen share because that might be it.
Okay.
And if
Sure.
that's and then we can just like look at the vlogs. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's one game. It'll only take a few
Yep.
minutes.
No, it's fine. Yeah, we can have the Slippy file.
Yeah. I have no idea what this gamer's code is, but figure it out.
It should be in the New Brunswick Discord or maybe the Atlantic one.
I
You
mean, I
might.
just told him mine, so he'll.
Yeah. Well, I was saying you can
So
get it ahead of time. Like just
yep.
search Mac in the Discord and it might show up. Yeah, there you go. Mac number 891. There you go. That's his code.
Oh, they just.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a lot of Discords where people just make their code like their name, you know?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I have not played Mac. Okay.
Yeah, I've heard he's pretty good. So be on the lookout, I guess.
What a gamer for stopping the One Piece marathon.
Yeah, real.
I mean, to be fair, we're gonna get this game over fast and he gets that done with.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's more like he's really nice of him to like interrupt what he's doing. uh yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, that's really nice. I've suddenly realized that I need to grab more Luigi players to play with.
Yeah, that's good.
Because like I used to have a Puff and then they kind of stopped playing the game.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I mean it's melee. I have Foxes, I have Falcos, Mars Cheeks, stuff like that. But like Luigi, I used to know Pikachu. I don't know where they are anymore though.
Well,
Could be gone.
I'll tell you this. While it may not seem like Luigi's that common of a character when you're watching tournaments, pretty often in tournament he is very common. Um, Same thing with like Peach. Same thing with like Sheik. As sometimes like I know J-Mook pops off now, but like it feels like you don't really see those characters as much. But it's always when you're playing like at a local, or when you're playing like in pools at a big tournament, or randomly like to get top 8 you have to run into one of them. Like you'll always run into these guys, so you still gotta know them no matter what.
Oh God, okay. It is a screen share, like
Okay.
100%.
Okay. Yeah.
We're
So
just gonna X that.
yeah, we'll just talk about it, and yeah, we'll go from there. So yeah, I guess we'll just talk while you're playing.
Homie went straight into it.
Yeah, as you should. So yeah, main things you're looking for right now are probably your biggest opening you want is a grab, right? So how can you get yourself a grab? So shielding against Luigi's pretty strong. I'm usually okay at like my first couple stocks, like conditioning him by shielding a lot to try and grab me, because then it's a lot easier to swing at him. And he'll just be more likely to approach you that way instead of like doing the wave dash forward and camping stuff, or wave dash back. Sorry. But yeah, if you're really unsure about when Luigi's gonna go in, getting a bit of distance between the two of you and doing things like nair in place or fair, like a late fair where you can put your shield up right after you swing, is really really strong against him. Yeah, I mean obviously I can't see the screen right now, so I'm just dropping random facts I know about the matchup. I would say if you get off stage at any point, be very careful about using side B too close to the ledge. Luigi's really like to grab the ledge and just like immediate back air or drop down. So try not to use too many side Bs like near the ledge. You could use them really low, just because it's pretty reactable for you to hit them at that point. But I would opt personally just to try and not side B if you can. Yeah, that being said, at higher percent, side B is honestly not that bad at hitting Luigi. A lot of them do like to spam CC down smash, so you have to kind of get a tell that's the kind of Luigi you're playing against or not. But no, it's pretty good at higher percents just because you can get
Right.
side B up tilt. But yeah, like I said, when you do get hits against him, you're probably just going to want to be doing as many late aerials as possible. Like late up air is probably your best one until you can get them high enough at a percent, probably around like 90 to 100. Then you can start going more for nairs and fairs to try to push him off stage. Sorry?
Oh no, just like watching like where his like how far his dare like hit down sort of thing.
Yeah, no, he shifts his legs down pretty far, so you do have to like look out for that. That's why like trying to get the right timing / spacing for anything you do to swing at him when he's above you is like it's pretty important, right? So like I said, it's a good matchup fundamentally to practice because if you can get good at that, you'll be really solid at understanding how to juggle like other characters when they shoot their moves down at you.
Oh, interesting. He seems like kind of his downer seems kind of safe sometimes. It was really weird.
If he does it like let's say he like jumps and does an immediate down air on your shield, I guess a big trick that Luigi players will catch people with is that he can do 2 aerials and 1 short hop. So it's like safe in the sense of like he can do it rising at a shield, but it's also not the safest at the same time because it's strong enough of a move where it pushes you back a little bit. So like the only real move he can hit you with if he hits you a downer a lot of the time is like a forward air. But he has to really commit to that forward air, and that forward air will definitely not be safe on shield. So it's like a little bit of a mix up when he does that. So if he's like scared, usually they like won't do that forward air right away. So if you know like okay, he's gonna do that high down air on my shield, like I can just fair it at a shield because it pushes you back far enough, you know. So you could do like an instant fair at a shield to hit it, but honestly, a lot of the time I'm just not sure if he's gonna do a double aerial or not. I don't really play that mini game as much. I'll usually just hold shield and punish whatever he does after, or reset neutral and like roll behind or something.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's the game. Let me open that up.
Okay, cool. Did you win?
Yeah. No.
Oh shoot. Okay.
Yeah, the connect like it's got to be on my end because my internet died twice today. Like it had a couple funky moments when I was trying to juggle, but it happens.
Yep.
Can't worry about that.
If you want to go to the 3 dots next to the analytics, yeah, it should show you reveal a location. You can just send me that file.
Yeah, that'll actually make things a lot easier.
Yeah, thanks.
Because your connection's working fine.
Well, it's not even that. It's just more. It gives me the ability to like pause, replay, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You right.
Okay.
It was interesting to like learn and see like how far like Luigi really went and how far like his down air would go. Like even when I was holding ledge, I was like, you know, how far will it reach down? Like it kind of did something. Also, he just immediately once the connection got better, he just went in. That was the funny.
That's usually pretty normal for net play.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about the matchup on paper. So like I said, this is like a very like on paper matchup. I don't think you really need to play the player as much against Luigi with Marth. I think Marth is like almost definitively Luigi's worst matchup in the game. It's Marth or like I don't know, maybe Puff, Yoshi, or Ices. I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's pretty definitively Marth. The main reason being, if you're able to stay, I'm trying to get like a perfect frame for it, but about like this distance ish. If you're able to stay and play neutral at this distance, it's always going to be hard for Luigi to come in and approach you. I think one thing we talked about briefly in our Sheik lesson was that the more distance you have, and it's like a very important concept that applies to like every matchup, but especially this one, because it's always about trying to guess when Luigi's going to come in at you, right? One thing that's like very important to understand is that reaction time is based on the distance between you and your opponent.
Yep.
It's not necessarily the amount of milliseconds you're able to react as quick as a person. It's more so how much space is there between you, because if you're the one who's not approaching, that this is your time to react, right? So this is around the range you want to set yourself up for, so that you have time to react, you know. And also on top of it, you don't want to be too close to him because your moves are worse than his. But generally speaking, where you're going to be playing more of a walling defensive style in this matchup, uh, this is just how you want to position yourself for that, right? So
Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't have the experience to know how far Luigi can really get with his wave dash. So
yeah,
I wasn't sure, like, do I want to try to position inside of it a bit? Do I want to position outside? Like, how do I want that to shift? Because again, it's Luigi. I don't know how his hitboxes really interact with mine. I know I just have the bigger ones, like generally speaking. But
yeah.
you know,
So yeah, I mean his hitboxes. It's not necessarily that they're better or worse. It's for him. It's more like the character, right? So the character is gonna get in close to you, and that's his goal: is to just get as close as possible.
right?
Because if your hitboxes hit him, you're gonna send him away. But if his
Yeah,
hitboxes hit you, you're not really gonna be able to contest them very much because he's still moving while it's happening. And on top of it, like he'll be close to you, so you won't be able to position yourself for tipper.
right.
So that's why this matchup is so much about like don't let Luigi get in, keep your wall, and then once you're able to get an opening, you can kill him, right? So
Right.
this is where I'd recommend try and get every game to start from, because it also another point is that it doesn't really matter how far Luigi can go. If you know that you can set yourself up at this range every time, he could wave dash anywhere here and in between, you'll be safe. And if he overextends, you have time to react and swing at him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter how far he can go. You need to be able to position yourself in this range ish.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Okay. So yeah, moving on. Let's talk about that. So again, I understand he kind of, you said he just ran at you. What's the connection got better? So I understand why you're not swinging here, but generally you're gonna want to be swinging when you're closer now. So now you're playing for real. So again, you're dash dancing quite a bit. There, you're obviously trying to dash dance.
Connection's still dying, but
Yeah.
we're figuring it out.
So yeah, there's the down B that clips you. It's just a weird timing. Okay. Okay. So here, this is like okay. It's obviously a little sloppy, just in the sense of like, okay, now I'm not sure if I'm gonna swing at him, but you get the job done, right? He SDs. Okay, so how do you get off the ledge? Just
I learned that down there does that. So that was
yeah.
cool.
Well, yeah,
That was
downer.
fun.
It's not even necessarily that the downer is the problem here, because really, he could have done any move here. He could have nared, he could have fared, he could have down aired. Like, because you're drifting right at him, they probably would have all connected. But this is worth noting, yeah. So the down air starts where he kind of has his legs tucked in a little bit, but then after a minute, they stick out right away, right? Like instantly, they stick out. Well, let's do it frame by frame again, just real quick, just to show that, because it's pretty insane, right? Backed up, backed up, backed up, backed up. Like you're swinging right 1 or 2 frames before. Yeah, 1, 2, and then they're instantly out, right? So you do always have to be a little aware of it. Like obviously the downer has startup, but yeah, there the problem is you just swung a little too late.
Right.
I think we talked about before where if you're on the ledge, a concept that Marth has that's really good is I'm like almost sure we've talked about this, but from the invincibility here on the ledge, you're able to hold a certain range, right? We talked about this.
No, we basically came to you basically summarized it as, Marth in the corner on ledge is its own thing, and that's a bit separate, and that,
Okay.
like, because we started talking about those things. This is something that you outlined that would be different and that we would get to, but it's not something we've
Okay.
actually talked
I'll
about.
make a note of it so that in our next time we'll for sure talk about it.
Hmm.
Next lesson, talk about Marth on ledge. But the TLDR of it right now is basically that forward air range I was showing you. That's a range you can just keep holding by doing fair regrab ledge over and over. He shouldn't be allowed to be playing around here, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that you got hit here, that's just a knowledge check more than anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll basically ignore the first 2 stocks. So right away, he's already doing some really bad stuff between stocks. like I said, Luigi's biggest weakness, you can see it even here, right? He's not really moving very far to the left, right?
Yeah.
Even though I'm sure he's holding almost all the way fully to the left.
Yeah.
Which is pretty bad. So when you see Luigi full hopping like this to me is a moment of like, oh my god, I'm gonna bite, and I'll just like jump at him right away, right?
Yeah.
Jumping forward air at him. Because if you get a hit that hits him up, you're set up instantly just to like 0 to death him and juggle him over and over.
Right.
So not terrible here that you missed it, but what I think you're doing a little too much right now is trying to play the ground game against him, right? We saw it a lot on the last stock, and even here especially, right? You're trying to way dash forward down tilt. You're trying to dash dance, right? You're doing these little dash dances into down tilts. The CC down tilt there works, but it's like, it's only working, I think, because no offense to Mac, but he's also pretty new, so it's like, I don't think he knows the Marth matchup a ton.
Also me like figuring out like Luigi's drift, right? Like when you said, you know, he's doing that full hop, you can definitely just go out and hit him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that, but there was a moment of, I don't know if he's going to fall faster, and if I don't think I'm in the right position for it, so I'll just go for where I know he's going to be.
Yeah, no, he's pretty slow in the air. He doesn't really have
Yeah.
a quick fast fall, so he's a floaty, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
a floaty with bad drift is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The only reason Luigi's good is because he has a decent ground game. If he didn't, he'd be probably worse than Zelda. Like, on no joke, he'd be pretty bad.
Wow.
But because his ground game is so strong, it's kind of why I'm trying to emphasize right now. Like, I understand why you're dash dancing, and like in other matchups it would make sense. But because he has the burst range and his moves to hit you on the ground will knock you up way sooner than yours will, you kind of want to play a little bit more of a walling style in this matchup. The down tilt's really just to poke him and make him start coming at you, you know?
Right.
So like a down tilt from that range isn't as risky, the one you did out here, because it's like, I'll show you once you do it. You're threatening all this range, right? And Luigi doesn't really have a ton to come and punish you before you're able to interrupt the down tilt and act, right? Like that wave dash back could have just been a shield or a roll or whatever. You could have acted. So from a far away distance, it's not bad. But where it's up close and he's able to CC down smash it and stuff like that, or like jump over it and even down air you, it's just not really worth the risk. I would say in this matchup, down tilt's like a medium risk, low reward move, versus like you could just do a fair in place and that'd be like just as effective, basically, for the purposes of poking. Because yeah, you're not really doing like walling in place much. More so it's like you're trying to run at him and put a hitbox in his face. But let's talk about the juggle right now. So you get a juggle, get a forward air. Like I was saying, right? You see Luigi in the air at all, it's like, oh, I can just jump at him. Here you trade, but even still, it's a positive trade for you. You're able to put out another fair, right?
Right.
So again, rising up air here, I understand why you go for it, because it's like, it looks like it combos, and it's not bad. But he could double jump out here, theoretically, or even do a down air to like trade with you. But like, do you see how close Luigi's legs are when you're hitting this this up air? Like, that's kind of the weakness of rising up air. Like, you're still coming up when you're doing it. I'll show you when it's actually happening. Right?
Right there, yeah.
Yeah, he could totally throw it down here right now, and because you're still rising with him, it's like there's a little bit less disjoint than if you're doing a falling up air, right? And yeah, literally it happens the next one, right? So this kind of illustrates why a little bit easier, right? Like, he's just able to get it out, and because you're still coming up, it's like, it doesn't really work. So you have to make sure when you're going for a juggle against them to do falling aerials, or you can bait and do an up tilt. Yeah. That's kind of the main reason why. Here, I should let you know, so there is a flowchart to edge guarding Luigi, and it's pretty simple. Grabbing the ledge against him, honestly, is really effective. Like, there's really nothing too bad about it as long as he's not way too high. But what you're looking to punish every time is this side B that he does. So for some reason, he only does the small side B. Honestly, he could have charged it a little longer, so I'm not sure why he did. But when I see this, I'll just stop grabbing the ledge, and I'll immediately go out and swing at them with back air. Even more so, similar to Mario, when you see this down B is so punishable. Look at all the time you have to punish this, right? And just hit him with a back air. Especially where you're invincible from ledge. Even after he gets the move out. all these wasted frames, right? And I'm not saying like you need to be frame tight on everything, but I'm just trying.
I mean, I saw it, right? Like I reacted to it. I just wanted to see like how far he would like really go from it, and if he could even like make it back from there.
Yeah.
It turns out he could.
Well, yeah, he definitely can, and this isn't even like the max mash. Like a max mash would be higher than a double jump, basically.
That's insane.
Yeah. So it's a pretty good mash, but it's not even close to like what as good as it could be, right? So you always gotta hit down air no matter what. Just go out and back air it. Like you can always kill him for it. But even still, throwing out a back air from the ledge, like just getting on the ledge and doing like back air and landing, is still generally pretty safe against him. So I think you could have even caught this air dodge too, had you known the flowchart. But yeah, basically you almost always want to wait until the side B goes, and then you could just react to whatever he does after. React and back air him, or get on stage and then start edge guarding with down tilt.
That makes sense.
But yeah. So yeah, playing the distance here is good. Down tilting a little too close, but this is fine.
Right? He rolls so far. I did not know he'd roll that far.
Yeah, Luigi goes pretty far. It's just kind of his thing, right? He's got a really strong ground game. But yeah. Okay, so let's see how you catch this. Okay, so after this up tilt here, or dash attack, sorry. Because he's so far up above you, you don't really have to run and approach him here, right? Like you're jumping and jumping at him. But you don't really need to do that. Like I said, the goal with juggling Luigi is to fall with him, right? So as he's falling, you want to be falling here. But where you're landing so much earlier, this is honestly fine because he's still so high in the air. It gives you time to walk and start positioning yourself for up tilt, right? Because when we talk about flowchart for Luigi punish, it's juggle him till he's about 100 and then start pushing him off stage. So where he's already off stage, or sorry, where he's already over 100, he's pretty worried right now about being hit by moves like up tilt or up air. Because that means like the next couple hits, he could just die from anything, right? So he's either going to try one of two things, like we said against Sheik, where they're either going to try to, I have it in here somewhere, they're either going to try and trade with you, or they're going to try and jump away, right? I know I have it in here somewhere. Oh yeah, she's forced to either trade or drift away off stage, right? It's the same concept here with Luigi. He has to either, he can't beat anything you do if you do an up tilt or an up air here, right? A falling up air. So he has to either go away or do it. So where you can see just based on his drift that he's falling with you, you don't have to approach him. He's the one that's scared of you in this spot, right? So by jumping here, you're making yourself like exposed to like anything he does, right? So now by jumping, you give him the mix up of either landing with an aerial, which he does, or landing in front behind with like an air dodge back, or behind you with an air dodge forward. Whereas instead of jumping here, either when you bait him out with this double jump here, right? Because this full hop isn't terrible. It's not good because you're close to him, right? But let's say he was a little bit higher, like he is at this range, and you did this full hop, it would be fine if you end the full hop here and you just start falling with him, because now it's like the mix up right here. He has to either double jump or he could fall with you, but then if you fast fall and he can't because he's not as quick, he'll just get up tilted and die, right? So it's like,
right.
Not only is the jump mistime, but you kind of swing after and lose your ability to fast fall within the thing as much. But yeah, that was like a couple opportunities to kill him, which is it's pretty tough, but it's something you just got to learn.
It's simple enough that just with experience I'll get it, sort of.
Yeah.
Thing.
So it's like same concept here, up throw, right? You jump at him, little too close for when you do, so you get down aired for it. Whereas instead, if you do like a short hop or something and then just fast fall up tilt, that down air is really not much he can do to like land it, right? You'll just up tilt him or up air,
right?
But you do clip him with up B, which is good. Okay, so the ledge. So next time we'll talk about it, but basically the idea is from the ledge you get all this space to yourself. So we'll talk about that next time. But yeah. Yeah, like that won't happen next time. I promise it. Okay, so you get the nair. So again, I like this matchup because you can kind of wall on it, right? Like if you land a forward air, watch Luigi's shield. See how he just gets like pushed back a little bit. He's still moving backwards even after the forward air. It's because he low traction. So like by doing an aerial in place, like it's really tough for Luigi to get in. That's why he's doing this roll right here. And it's why walling is so great, because you can do an aerial in place, he gets pushed back, tries to push in with his long roll, and then he gets hit by another aerial. But on top of it, that aerial knocks him up. So now you could like forward air and combo off of it. So the punish for Marth and the neutral, honestly, is really, really one-sided. Like it's really good for you. But I think it's just a matter of practice and a knowledge check, right? Obviously, you only knew the game plan for like a couple minutes prior to getting into this one, but it's one worth practicing for sure. Let's see, you get downbeat here. And again, like running at Luigi a little bit too much here, right? You're dash dancing at him, trying to get close to him, and like I'm assuming this was supposed to be a down tilt. Here you F tilt. I'm only assuming it's down tilt because you did so many down tilts before. But like you can see why this is obviously doesn't work, right? And it kind of goes against the game plan. One, because it misses outright, but two, it's like now all the court's in Luigi's favor. He has the ability to hit you. Whereas if you were doing what you were doing over here, right, you can see the difference. It's way, way harder for him to get in, or for like you're safe doing this anyway, right? Because we saw it by the shield. So it's like a direct comparison of the two neutral styles, where it's like if you're comfortable doing aerials in place and walling him out and forcing him to come in, this all of a sudden is way more difficult for him. Whereas this method of it, where you're dash dancing and trying to get closer, like you're playing this matchup like a lot of Fox or a lot of Marths will try and play against Fox, right? Where they're trying to dash dance, close the distance. That's just not what you do against Luigi. So yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be super hard on you on it because it's a different matchup and it's new to you. But yeah, I mean, it's
fine. Like obviously I'm not going to take it personally. I'm here for coaching, right? It's for me, I like the fact that I did these different types of things so I could clearly see how they work, and more importantly, you talked about it, but you can further, solidify those things. Like, this is the sort of thing that happens when you go for it. This is exactly why you don't go for it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
No, but yeah, you can see it like so clearly here. Like these are literally just the two neutral concepts, like contrasted against each other, right?
Yeah.
So one is clearly better. So I'd recommend you go with the good one, obviously. Because even like this down tilt thing here, like you get the down tilt into grab. Like this is just him not being ready for it, right? Like he's trying to down B you out of neutral.
Yeah, it definitely didn't seem like something I should be getting.
Yeah. Well, it's just because it's like not. Like the fair down tilt here is good because it's the same thing as you did before where you're walling him out, pushing him back. But the down tilt into grab, like, yeah, I mean, you can see it. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't lead to anything.
Yeah. But here, though, let's talk about this up air, right? So I guess, like I was saying, sometimes up throw up air will combo. But it's tough, right? Because it's like even still, you can see where his legs are.
He's still falling kind of fast.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll typically, what I'll do, instead of going for like a direct punish off the up throw, I'll do like a short hop. So instead of fully hopping at him here, where it's like, he's like a frame away, literally, from hitting you.
Yeah.
Instead, if you short hop here, similar concept to the falling up air, the up air is just like there's more disjoint between you and him, right? The idea obviously is to hit him with tipper up air. It doesn't really matter if it's weak or tipper, but obviously tipper is just better. It's more damage, and the point is to keep him up in the air, so it's going to send him further. So, I mean, yeah, with the short hop up air off a low percent up throw like this, like you'll probably just hit tipper up air anyway. But yeah, I mean, obviously, it's the point I'm trying to make is just full hopping out at him immediately right after a throw. Like we talked about at 0%. It's kind of the same at low percent still. You need a little bit of time to react still.
Okay. At what percent would you say it's like something that you can start looking for a little bit more to go for a direct punish? Because at higher percents, like, right, we saw how there were definitely spaces where I could even full hop at him. He was so high percent, right, and I could fall with him. So yeah, I can definitely jump at him a little more aggressively at higher percents, but
yeah, well, I guess the thing is like it's not something fun to. I shouldn't say fundamentally, but it's like it's not something within your game plan that makes sense, right?
Right.
Where it's like jumping at him with an aerial goes directly against what we're talking about, trying to keep as much disjoint between you and him as possible, right?
That's fair. Yeah.
So it's like it's nice at 0% because he's at like a perfect spacing where it's like you can just react right away to, is he going to keep falling or is he going to jump, and then you just punish him for both, right? But at higher percents, it does get like a little bit more of like okay, are you really good at this now? Because he's so high up in the air, you have to have a feel for, okay, if I full hop here, is he going to keep falling with me while I fall to the ground? And will I have enough time to fast fall, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't recommend ever necessarily going for a direct up throw up air punish against Luigi. Maybe it happens at like 20% or 10% for up throw up air, maybe, or like up throw fair even. But in my head, it's like, why would I do that when I could just up throw and then start walking and up tilting and just immediately I'm already right below him, right? So it's like at worst case, I could up tilt, or I could just shield and bait out an aerial and then punish him and grab him again and throw him up in the air. Now he's conditioned, okay, well, an aerial doesn't work. Now what do? I'll probably double jump away. It's like, okay, go ahead. And you just up air him again with no double jump, and now he's even more screwed, right? Yeah. So it's like, why not go for those where it's like it's still just as tough for him to get out than like a direct one up single up air where it's like that's kind of all you get, especially if it's rising, right? Rising up airs, like even just think about it like when you're comboing Fox, like I can't open my Slippy right now because we have this, but like let's say you're comboing Fox on a platform, or just like comboing Fox in general on FD, let's say. If you're going to go for the chain grab, right, on FD and you get to like the 50s, you rarely ever see Marths do rising up airs on Foxes in the chain grab, right? It's always falling up airs. And the reason why is because you're able to get lower to the ground sooner and act, right? And then react to which way Fox DIs and then continue the combo. So it's the same concept here against Luigi, where it's like, even if you get a rising aerial, it's still not as good as a falling aerial because there's going to be more time between when you're able to act and when he gets out of hit stun. And that means you have less opportunity to keep the juggle going by covering his options, right? So it's like out of an up throw, why start a rising aerial, right? Why not set yourself up for either a falling aerial, and if you don't have time for that, start walking and up tilting, right? Because it'll put him right back up in the air. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Because yeah, that's basically the idea of like why falling up air is like strictly just better in this matchup, but almost all of them really.
Yeah.
Okay, so here you're stuck in shield. It's understandable. It's like you're new, right? So
yeah,
you get the rising up air. But again, here just really quick, when you're coming out of the corner here. You see how he's wave dashing back and forth here? And you have to put your shield. It's like hard to know like right away, oh, is he going to be able to hit me or not? Right? You have to scrap with him a little. So why run at him here when instead you could walk forward just to where you are right now and start walling, right? He can't get in. Right? So it's like, that's, yeah. It just kind of paints the picture a little easier, I think. But here you just get caught by the aerial. Sorry, not the aerial, the fireball. You're just a little slow. I think this is just like I'm not used to non-buffer here kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Also,
I didn't know they would send him that way. Just like the way he moved, like after he hit the downer, like so high.
Yeah.
He's still just outside the range, which is interesting.
Well, it's not even so much that it sends him one way. It's that the downer is a strong knockback move, right? So it has a lot of shield damage, which means it's gonna be safe on shield and push you back. You see how you move backwards a bit?
Oh, is that how shield pushback works? Like
yep.
higher the damage? Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So it's like, it also has to do with character's traction, right? Like, Peach probably won't get moved as far from this move, but Marth will because he has a low traction shield, right? That's why walling against Luigi is so effective, because it's like, even a move as weak as like Marth forward air pushes Luigi's shield back, and then you can do forward air into down tilt and really push him back, you know?
Right, because he has like 0 traction.
Yeah, basically.
Right.
But yeah, here you're getting caught swinging, right? Aerial, tilt, aerial, tilt, and then dead. So not the right moves to swing with there, but yeah, you got punished for it there. But yeah, I kind of hope that paints a little bit of a picture of like how to space in the matchup of like, okay, this is why you want to use your certain aerials this way. This is why you want to do your rising your falling aerials and your up tilts more so than your like your rising aerials or like a dash dance down tilt approach to it where you're kind of playing it like Fox. We didn't get to talk too much about edge guarding really, other than that one down B, just because it really didn't come up much. But I think for sure, like the aerial, the walling style, and practicing your juggling, it's probably like your best step to get good across like most matchups in the game. Obviously, those things aren't going to matter as much against like Fox, Falco, Falcon. But I would argue in like every other matchup, literally, like there's something with all of them, right? So it's like it does matter, the stuff we're talking about. It might not be as crazily exciting as like a Marth chain grab tutorial, but like go to YouTube if you want that, you know? I don't know. But yeah, in all seriousness, I think this is something you can definitely practice by the time we talk again. I would probably recommend the best way to do it would just be trying out Melee online once your internet gets a little better. Or you could even hit up Mac if he's free. I mean, Mac is from St. John, so he's probably just down to play you anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can do that. I don't know if there's many other matchups, or sorry, many other characters in many other Luigis in the Atlantic Discord, truthfully. Like, there probably is, and none are just coming to my head, but most of the Luigis I know from Atlantic Canada are retired by now.
I know. I could probably come in contact with a couple
Yeah.
Luigis that are pretty damn strong, but
Well, it's good.
yeah.
So, yeah, I'd recommend doing that, probably.
Yeah, because I think, like, at the end there, when I was, sort of swinging with different moves, trying to see, like, how things would interact in different spaces and, getting used to how Luigi behaves in the air, how he drifts, fastball, all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Quickly what came to me, even when I was doing it is, like, yes, obviously I want to hit him and I don't want him to hit me, but aside from that, like, very core principle, like, there was no purpose behind some of those swings, right?
Yeah.
There was no reason to like really be doing it. Like, you could argue and find a reason for it, sure, but from my perspective at that time there wasn't any. And so going forward, like avoiding moments like that where I have a clear understanding of the things that I'm at least looking to do, it'll be it'll be better than whatever that was.
Yeah,
Right? And
for
once I
sure.
get those down, I can easily build off of them. Like, okay, well, this is working in this situation. It works like 8 times out of 10, but these other 2 times, this maybe something else, is a little more worth it. And then that's when things get into specifics, I think. But like, I don't have the basis down for any of that yet. So
well, I would say just for now, like, don't even really worry a ton about, like, honestly, because you're getting coaching, I don't think you really have to like experiment much in your games. Like, just try your best for now. Stick to the game plan we're talking about right now, and you'll see where deviations arise from that, right? But if you're gonna continue to experiment on top of it, it's gonna just be a little overwhelming. Does that make sense? So it's like you already have something new that you're trying to work with. Try and see where you can fit it in, and when you're finding spots where it's not, try and incorporate new stuff to match for it, or leave it alone for a bit and avoid it, because maybe that's a spot where you're not doing it right. Similarly,
that's what I was thinking.
Similarly, when we talked about with Sheik, right? What can I do to make this happen? What's going wrong in my games where this isn't happening? What am I doing to let her save these spots more? How do I avoid this? You can often answer one of these two questions, like from these are obviously different perspectives. Like, why is this going wrong? What can I do better? You can often ask one of these two in games, but I feel like you can't answer this while you're playing often a lot easy, and you can't really do this one either as much. You can obviously do them, but I don't think you can do both at the same time is the problem. So rather than doing this, right, or how do I avoid this, just run away from it, right? Don't try and force anything. Or if you can, like if it's very obvious to you where you're doing like rising aerials instead of the falling aerials, like if you know your game plan is telling you start doing falling aerials, like okay, that one's a very obvious one, right? But it's like, oh, if Luigi's like her box extends this certain way and it's like a little bit weird, like don't overcomplicate it, right? Like we said, the whole point of it right now is just to try and keep things as simple as possible to build upon that. So
Yeah.
I would recommend when you're practicing, just it's like L canceling where it's like no matter how many times I try and do like a perfect L cancel in a game, I'm just my main focus is just L canceling, right? Or
Mm.
like I don't know. It's like any tech. Like you're just when you're practicing it, you're just gonna try and do it and like beat it to death a million times over until it's part of your game, right?
Yeah, until
So
you can't get it wrong.
yeah, exactly. So I would say for now, like I said, these uh, matchup guides I'm giving you are built to work for every level of the character you're playing. They're
Yeah.
fundamental like traits of the characters, right? So
And that
for
stuff will transfer. I mean, there's just some of these things are just a Marth thing, like how Marth can deal with it,
yeah, exactly.
right? Like, so I
They're
mean, it'll carry over to everything anyway.
yeah, which is why this matchup is so great. It's why we're talking about this one in particular today because it's kind of building upon our last one that we're talking about, but it's also the main point of trying to teach you some fundamental techniques of the game
Mm,
while also making stuff that you're already familiar with because we talked about the sheep matchup already.
right.
So for now, yeah, like I said, try and play some Luigi's. Try and implement the walling style a little more with nair, fair, and down tilt and grab. Try and do some juggles a little easier. Honestly, you could even practice the juggling aspect by just going into melee, put on like a level 4 CPU or something, and just up air him on FD till he dies, right? Obviously,
Mm,
they don't, I don't think the melee CPUs like up B or they don't side B, one of the two. But uh, you can get the concept of them trying to hit you, right? Just put it up to
yeah.
level 9 if you think you're there yet, but uh, practice it with then and then try it against real people, right? Like hit up Mac, play for an hour. The next day, hit up some random Luigi on Netplay, right? But I
Yeah.
would say stick to the one matchup for this week. Just practice it over and over. See what sticks, see what doesn't, and then maybe next time we can either talk about. I know we said we could talk about Marth from Ledge, which is probably pretty useful. Or if you find, I'm trying to juggle, but like this always keeps happening to me. I don't know why. Maybe we could talk about it. How can I do things better? We could talk about that, or we could restart with another matchup again and just start fresh. But I would think where it's two matchups already, and they're kind of similar in concept, and it seems like even just watching you play right now, you're still trying to play the Marth Fox style a little bit too much. I would recommend. I know it's just the one game, but still, I'd probably recommend try this, especially while it's new to you, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that'd be my recommendation for like, I guess if you want to call it like homework, but yeah, that's the idea.
No, I mean, I think it's a good thing because, from everything that you talked about, um, some of the things that I was doing there, some of the things I wasn't doing, some of the other things that I was doing that clearly wasn't working out, right? Um, a lot of it was pretty night and day,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of it felt, um, like, I mean, even just doing it yourself, like, it'll feel different, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, obviously there are some things that I need to get used to doing in the first place, so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, I mean, I definitely agree with all of that. I don't have a problem with anything that you said, like even the homework bit,
Yeah.
because I mean it's just practicing like what we're going over, right? And I mean like
Yep.
that is the entire point of this. So
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. So yeah. Anyway, hit up some Luigi's. Come back to me if you have any questions in the meantime. Like for sure, you can hit me up on Discord. But yeah, I will get this recording up for you as soon as possible. Um, yeah, we'll talk about what our next session would be. Typically, like I said, I recommend a week. So maybe we could do it like right before I go to Riptide, but that's up to you. Uh, but yeah, like I said, just closing statements. My manager Athene is pushing me to ask for testimonials. I did see you left me one already, so thank you for that. But if you ever want to make a tweet or just give me a shout out in general that I can share on social media or on Metafy, that's really, really helpful for me. It helps more than you know. Um, but yeah, I think that's really all I have for now. I'll have the recording up tonight. Um, and yeah, I don't know. We'll talk soon.
thanks a lot, man. It was good. I
No,
appreciate it.
no worries. All right, we'll talk soon. Bye now.
Have a nice night. See ya.